Classic World of Warcraft is the perfect example of when Blizzard was able to experiment freely with their gear and items in their MMO because they had never developed one before. My name is Blister from Less Than Epic, and today we're going to be taking a look at 10 of those extremely unique items from Classic World of Warcraft. Before we get into our 10 unique items, I do want to say that there are more than 10 items, and this is by no means the entirety of all the unique items that we can find in Classic WoW. These are just 10 items that I remember and then that I've looked up and found and read about that are unique and interesting to me. So without any further ado, let's start off this list. The first item that we're going to talk about is one that a lot of people have probably seen or heard or been the victim of, and that is the Piccolo of the Flaming Fire. The Piccolo of the Flaming Fire is a trinket that you use, and it essentially creates a dance party around you. It's a drop off of Hearthsinger Forreston in Stratholme, and it only has a 5-yard range. However, that wasn't always the case. This unique dancing trinket used to have a much larger range, and it actually has been nerfed more than just its range over the years. It used to be a much farther range, and it also used to break eating. So if you were in a raid and you happened to pop that and everybody was eating to get their food buff, everybody would stand up and start dancing, and it would break that food buff that they were trying to get to. It also has been nerfed from affecting everybody to just the people in your party. The next item on our list is actually a weapon, and this one is Sul'Thraze the Lasher. Now, Sul'Thraze the Lasher, a lot of you may say, is not that unique of an item. It's just a two-handed epic sword. And yes, that is true that it's just a two-handed sword, but the way that you acquire it is fairly unique. You have to combine two weapons. You have to combine Sangthraz the Deflector and Jangthraz the Protector, and once you put those together, you actually get the two-handed sword. What's so unique about that? I mean, you have other weapons in the game, like even the Hand of Ragnaros, where you combine the Sul'Thraze hammer with the raid drop that you get off of Rag himself, and then you get the Hand of Rag. First of all, the Sul'Thraze hammer is a crafted item. Second of all, the second piece that you combine it with is not another item. The unique part about Sul'Thraze is that it's two weapons that are drops from an instance, and you combine them together to make another bigger, better weapon. Like I said, I'm not sure if there are any other weapons in the game where you actually combine two weapons to make the one. I know I gave you the example of Hand of Rag, and there are some other examples where you take an existing item, add some pieces to it, and upgrade it, but Sul'Thraze is unique in that it's just two weapons, you put them together, and you get another weapon. The next item on our list is actually a twofer. We're going to be talking about two things here because they're both helmets and they both have the same effect. Both of them have a charge where you use the helmet and you charge at your opponent and you stun them for 30 seconds while at the same time you also stun yourself. Those items would be the Goblin Rocket Helmet and the Horned Viking Helmet. The Goblin Rocket Helmet is actually a cloth helmet that you can obtain from engineering. You just have to craft it and boom, you got it. On the other hand, the Horned Viking Helmet is a plate helmet that drops off of Eric the Swift in Ulduar. As far as I'm aware, there are no other items like this in the game that replicate kind of a warrior's charge with an extended Hammer of Justice or what have you, where it's just a very long stun. And the unique part about this is that you also stun yourself for a little while as well. And that's why these two items made it onto our list. And the next item on our list is actually an item. It's not a piece of gear. It is called Jungle Remedy. Jungle Remedy is an item that drops off the Curzon mobs in Stranglethorn Vale. What this item does is it cures you of disease and poison effects. And that is very unique. The only other way to get that kind of effect is from a Dispel. It has a 2-minute cooldown, and it does share the same cooldown as other potions. The closest thing that we can get to this for an on-use effect would be the powerful anti-venom, which only has a 1-minute cooldown and shares the cooldown with bandages. However, that's only going to cure you of poisons. That's not going to clear you of diseases. And that's what makes Jungle Remedy so unique, is that it clears both poison and disease effects. The next item on our list is going to be a weapon again, but this weapon is a little bit more unique than the last. This weapon is called Thunder Strike, or is it called Shadow Strike? So this weapon is the weapon that you can click to change between Thunder Strike and Shadow Strike. It's a weapon that drops in Molten Core off of the boss named Sul'Thraze Harbinger. As far as I'm aware, it is the only weapon in the game that you can right click to use and have it go from one weapon to another. Now the two different weapons actually have two different effects when you're using them. One has a chance for an AoE effect to damage 3 different mobs, and another one has a lifesteal effect. Now that lifesteal effect is actually a bonus here. That life-stealing effect that it has, I'm pretty sure is also another very unique thing in Classic. The Shadow Strike life-stealing is very similar to the actual enchant life-stealing, and as from far as I can tell, it is the only natural life-stealing effect on any weapon in the game that I can find. If you do know of another weapon or another piece of armor or anything that gives life-stealing without actually having to enchant your weapon, let me know down in the comments. I'd be very interested to know about that. And moving on is another piece of gear, but this one is very unique, and this is the Loofah trinket. The Loofah trinket is actually a crest reward that you can get, and it's going to remove 1 bleed effect, and it has a 3-minute cooldown. This is, from all the research I've done, the only bleed removal in all of Classic WoW, which makes it so unique to the game in its entirety. A lot of people will hold on to this trinket, keep it in their bank, keep it on their toon in case they're going up against a druid, because they know that it's going to be very useful. So even at 60, when you're with full epics, rogues will run around with this so that way they can clear bleed, so that way they can vanish and they don't have to worry about popping back out of vanish. And that bleed removal being the only one that I can find in the game is why it's so unique and makes it on this list. The next item on our list actually is not a piece of gear again, and it is actually an item. We're going to see some more of those for the rest of this list, but that item is called Crystal Yield. Crystal Yield is an item with an on-use effect to reduce the enemy's armor by 200 for 2 whole minutes. That is pretty good. 200 armor is a decent chunk of armor. Now, before we get carried away in saying that this is the only way to reduce armor, we know that there's plenty of other ways to do it. And with skills and other items in the game, the Weapon Annihilator actually has a chance to apply a debuff just like this. The only difference is the Crystal Yield doesn't require a slot on your character. So you can be using whatever weapon you want and you can actually apply this. I've heard stories of people hoarding this and other items and just putting them in their bank until the time calls for it, then they pop it out and they go bring it to the raid, so that way they can try killing the boss with this extra help of the 200 less armor. The next unique item on our list is the Magic Candle. The Magic Candle is essentially a rank 1 fireball that is an on-use effect, kind of like the Crystal Yield, except for it's not from a quest, so you could farm up as many of these as you want. It's only drops from 1 mob in the entire game, and that is the Kobold Geomancer in Elwynn Forest. So if you want some of these, you're going to have to go farm those guys. This is actually a pretty good item in itself, kind of like the Loofah and the Crystal Yield, just because, you know, you can, if you're a paladin and you're tanking, you can use this to pull apart a pack of mobs instead of having to go in and accidentally aggro 6 things. You can use one of these, and you're only going to pull half that pack if they're not attached. So this is actually a very useful item in certain situations. But again, it is extremely unique. It lets pretty much any class in the game have a rank 1 fireball. Moving on to our next item is an item that I had actually never heard of before and I had never seen in game before. It's called the Glowing Cat Figurine. Now the Glowing Cat Figurine is an on-use item that summons a ghost cat by your side and fights for you for some time. And it's pretty much like a hunter's pet, except for you can't really command it. It'll follow you around and help you attack your target. But I can't find anything else like this in the game. There are other items that apply the same kind of benefit, like there's trinkets that with on use where you can actually summon and add that'll help you damage down your opponent. But as far as I know, this is the only on use item that you can do to summon an additional ally to help you kill something that isn't a class specific thing. Like anybody can get this. The mob that drops it is a very sought after mob for actually hunter pets. The mob that drops it is the Ghost Sabers, in the ruins of Malthistra and Darkshore. Now these ghost sabers only spawn, they have about a 20% chance to spawn when you click on the cat figurines that are scattered around the ruins. When you actually get the ghost saber to spawn, you're going to actually notice that it kind of looks like it's prowling already, but it's not. It actually has just a look to it where it's semi-transparent, and that's why it's so sought out by hunters everywhere to try and get this pet, because they all like how it looks. It looks like it's prowling even when it's not. It's a very cool looking pet. And last on our list is probably something that a lot of people have heard before, but it is still very unique, and unfortunately it only is for the Alliance, and that is Dartol's Rod of Transformation. Essentially what this is going to let you do is going to let you turn into a furball. Now the one catch with this is that it is a quest item, and if you complete the quest chain, you will actually lose that item. So you have to make sure that you get up to a certain point in the quest chain where you can actually use the item for the quest, and then not worry about the quest anymore, just leave and go on your merry way, and then you can continue to use it as you want freely, and you can turn into a furball as much as you want. It's not going to prevent you from being able to do anything, so it's pretty cool. It's like I said, it lasts for 3 minutes and only has a 1 minute cooldown, so you could forever be a furball. Well, that's it, guys. That's 10 very unique items that we love from Classic WoW. We do have some other items that we thought of, but they ended up not making this list. So if you guys did like this, make sure you drop it a thumbs up. Let us know down in the comments. Let us know if there's something very unique that we missed that you love, and maybe we'll do a part 2 of this one, because this one was actually really fun to research. I learned actually quite a bit more than I thought I was going to. So anyways, guys, let us know what you thought down in the comments. Make sure you check out the live streams. We're going to be doing those at least 3 days a week starting now. So, and we're going to continue for the foreseeable future. So make sure you check out those streams. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Hey, it's Ratted here. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe as well. It really helps out the channel. We put out multiple new videos each week, and we appreciate all of your support. Thanks for watching, everyone, and cheers.